It's always a challenge teaching a skill set like A-plus computer hardware when we're not in the same room together physically. So I'm going to do the best I can here using a virtualized environment. We're looking at a Windows Server 2012 R2 virtual machine that I have running in VMware Workstation. And what I can do here is look at the settings for the virtual machine, and we can simulate a hardware installation. We can add virtual hardware to this box. So I can bring in a USB controller card, a sound card, old school parallel port, serial port, printer port. Now those ports have definitely shown their age. Floppy drive, for heaven's sake? Let's just do USB here. It asks us what level of USB we want to have compatibility for. I'll select 2 here. And there's some options that are specific to the virtual machine. While we're here, why don't we come back and add in a sound card too? By default, it's going to borrow whatever I have. On my hardware box, I have an Aphex audio interface, so it's going to want to borrow that and virtualize that. We'll click OK. And depending upon what operating system you're using and how it handles hardware, you may be prompted to install a device driver. You may find that Windows in particular may give you a generic driver out of the box. Or if your hardware vendor suggested that you load their custom driver prior to installing the new hardware, it should come up automatically. In Windows, we have what's called Device Manager that's very helpful for this. Let me right-click the Start button in Windows Server 2012 R2. You can do the same thing in Windows 8.1, by the way, and select Computer Management from the shortcut menu. I apologize for the resolution being a little wonky here. That's because I want to show you the VMware Workstation Outer Chrome as well. In Computer Management, we can go to Device Manager, and this will reveal all detected software. If there's any undetected software, if for whatever reason your operating system was not able to recognize your newly installed expansion card, it'll show up with a question mark. And the way you manage the drivers is you can right-click the device to directly update the driver software. Microsoft in particular does a pretty good job of partnering with hardware vendors. It may give you a perfectly good driver without you having to install the vendor's driver. Another thing you can do is to right-click and go to Properties. And there's a driver tab here that will tell you whether the driver came from Windows, which in this case it looks like it did, or in this case I could feasibly go to the Intel website and look up 82574L gigabit network and download the Intel driver software as well. Notice the controls that we have on the driver page. To update the driver manually, we have that button, and if we do an update and we see problems, Windows includes a rollback driver that allows us to remove the most recently installed driver. Also, for troubleshooting purposes, it's nice to be able to disable a device just to take it out of the running temporarily, or you may want to actually remove the driver. Let's say you've decided that you're unhappy with your new audio interface, so you're going to put it on eBay or bring it back to the store or whatever. You'll want to uninstall the driver completely, shut off the computer, remove the card, place it in an anti-static bag, and you're good to go.